Welcome to the Dordtrecht5 Podcast channel on YouTube, and my name is Dallas Christ. I want to have a caveat here for you that something needs to be said. There's a railroad track that's just adjacent to my house here, and there may be some railroad noise. I might have to edit this and just stop the video, but I want to explain to you where I am. I am in my home. What you see behind me is my living room. This is a brand new channel. I don't have lights. I don't have microphones. I'm using an iPhone, and I'm very excited about this. And the reason why is because of the topic. We'll get into that here in a minute. But first, I want to um, uh, describe, maybe introduce myself and describe myself as I'm I'm an iron worker by trade. I joined the union down in Wichita, Kansas, back in the summer of 1998, and I've been an active member since then. I worked on a lot of really interesting jobs, some jobs that I wasn't fond of as well. I've done a lot of traveling. It's been an honest career, and so this YouTube channel is something new to me, and uh, I've been pondering this for probably at least a couple of months, and I've kind of kept it away from my family. I've told a few of my inner circle people and one member of my family so far, two members of my family so far. And there's going to be a lot of information here that that we're going to dig into. And it's, for me, I hope that you understand that that this is I hope informative for you. I want to explain to you that this is not going to be an entertainment channel. There's the vast majority of it is going to be like information. And to be honest, you very well might be entertained by the information that I hope to bring to you. I hope to bring to you relevant information, but really what kind of like what caught my curiosity in developing this channel is the topic of the channel. And before I get into that, I want to describe to you the name of the channel and where it comes from, how it's conceived, so on and so forth. Dordtrecht5. This is something that's been asked me many, many times. I had this as an email address for many years. I don't know how long, but many, many years. And the reason why I kind of, I guess, thought of this channel is back in, I think it was 2000, 2001. I came from, well, previously to that, I came from a Christian family, and we were very much steeped in um, Pentecostalism. That isn't the heritage, but when I was growing up, it was Pentecostalism. And then when I uh, when I turned, well, I think I was 30 or so. I started listening to a theologian by the name of Dr. R.C. Sproul. He was on the radio, on Christian radio. Dr. Sproul comes from the Reformed tradition of theology. And I started reading his books and kind of doing some interesting research on Reformed theology. And there's back in the day, in the early 1600s, there was a synod that was and a synod. What a synod is it is a convening of church government. We had at that time in Europe, in the Western Europe, where the Reformed theologians in the Enlightenment formed Protestantism, beginning with Luther and his 95 Theses that he nailed to the doors of the Roman Catholic Church. Years later, a synod developed by the Reformers and what is known as the Remonstrants. The Remonstrants were a sect of Reformed theologians that were kind of like going off on a little bit of a tangent with regard to their view of salvation, and this is called soteriology. And they wrote a remonstrant against the Protestant reformers, such as, I'll just give you a few names. We hear of John Calvin, we hear of Zwingli, we hear of Theodore Beza, we hear of many, Martin Luther. We hear of many of these different Reformed fathers. And so there was a synod that was convened in the city of Dort. And there's there was kind of like two different names for Dort. Dort is in Dutchland, the Netherlands. And so there were 5 points that were developed by the Remonstrant article, talking about these different points of salvation. And there were, like I said, there was 5 of them. And so the reformers, there was a lot of men that came to this synod. I think for the reformers, there was, if my recollection is correct, there was 72, I think it was. I may be wrong. I'm very well likely wrong about that number, but they convened for over a year, and they took the remonstrant papers and they formed a rebuttal. And there were 5 points of rebuttal, which is what is known as the 5 in today's society, the 5 points of Calvinism. And so because in 2000, I started with this Reformed theology, I decided that, I thought it was a cool name. My ancestry is from Germany. It is also the heritage of my family is with the Reformers, with a particular sect of the Formers. And we're going to get into that at a later time. I don't want to talk about it right now. But that was the reason why I chose this name, the Dordtrecht5 Podcast channel. And so there you have my my little take on how this channel was named. The core philosophy, I want to talk about that just a little bit. The the core philosophy of this channel, I'm just looking down at my notes, and forgive me, I'm rank novice here. So I want to be kind of like precise in what I'm saying and not forget. The content is grounded in established history and traditional values rather than an experimental basis or what is known as avant-garde concepts. My focus is the exploration of ancestry and heritage, familial heritage, and their vital importance in our modern world. We live in a postmodern world today, and I think that, as opposed to the way that I grew up as a child, um, heritage was such a huge impact on me. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather and grandmother were very into heritage and my grandfather's history, my grandmother's history, and it, like I say, it had a very deep impact on me as a child. And most of the Christ family, I would say, is at least a little bit, if not very, captivated by our history, our heritage, our ancestry, especially. Uh, I would say that, the ancestry part is huge for our family. I want to talk about uh, my we're going to talk about at a later time. We're going to talk about, excuse me, my maternal ancestry and my genealogy and my paternal ancestry. We're also going to be talking about faith and legacy. This is heritage. We are going to be talking about both sides of my family, maternal side and the paternal side. I think that another interesting thing that we will very likely get into is talking about religion, specifically Christianity. And we're going to do some, I'm going to be doing some studying. There's a lot of things that I already know, but I want to confirm my knowledge and get more read up on a particular theology that has, I guess, encapsulated the American evangelical Christianity and the effects that it has had on the church today. So that's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to do that, and that's going to be a deep dive. So there's going to be things that that you are likely going to be interested in. There's going to be things that you're likely not going to be interested in, and that's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. The reason, like one of the core reasons that I'm developing the channel is so that I have a digital record for my children, my grandchildren, so on and so forth, that they can look back on with a detailed history. I'm going to be presenting a lot of historical pictures, a lot of historical, I guess you could say, maybe artifacts, and you're going to see my family. It's a wonderful family. I love my family. So I I want to take a few moments here to talk about two different things that are the main focus of this channel right now. Number one, our ancestry. Number two, our heritage. There's two very distinct things that separate these two things. There are commonalities, but there's a vast difference between the two. The relationship between ancestry and heritage is simply biological and cultural. Ancestry is the biological part. It's defined as the fixed genetic link and who you are based on your predecessors. So I want to, explain that part a little bit. I'm not trying to treat people dumb, but I do want to explain it. So our ancestry is our father, mother, grandparents, great grandparents, and until we, in reality, we don't have record of our ancestry. We can somewhat find our ancestry through different things online. The internet is I would say it's a wonderful tool in some very important aspects. It's kind of like with AI and the different things that are going on right now with Facebook, all the different media platforms. It can also be very dangerous. But what we can do is say like ancestry.com or 21andMe or whatever that website is called. You can do blood tests. You can find out exactly where you came from, what your blood comes from, like the region. Say like Germany. I have a friend that lives, a loved one. She's my, I guess you could say, my girlfriend. She has done the blood test to find out, exactly where she came from. And what's very unique about this woman is that she is 100% German. Modern Germans don't really have that type of lineage because of immigration and the different cultural things that have happened to the country of Germany. But she is 100% German. Both sides of her family, 100% German. And I think that's very unique. So that's just an interesting fact about her. Now, what you can also find out is you can find out exactly your paternal side family members, your maternal family side, their family members, and um, uh, and share that identity with other people that have the same maternal paternal links as you. I myself, I'm not interested in that. And I want to discuss the reason why that is not interesting to me. The reason why is because as I grew up, um, excuse me, first I want to talk about heritage. Heritage is the cultural side, and this is what I'm going to be referring to um, uh, coming up. It's the heritage is defined as the fluid side of history and how you live, the traditions that you keep, and the choices shaped by your environment. So, as as we can look at heritage, there's there's poor heritage, there's mediocre heritage, there's excellent heritage, and it depends on, like I really believe that it depends on how you were raised and how you see your heritage through your family, how you were raised, and and the stories of that heritage. I grew up as a young child. I lived in my grandparents' home, my paternal grandparents' home mostly. They had custody of my sister and I for several years, and my grandpa, I call him Papa. My grandmother, I call her Nanny, and so that's how they're going to be referred to from here on. Papa grew up in a very large Christian family. His father was a minister. I don't want to talk about the ancestry there right now. I just want to talk about the heritage. So the heritage um, was very unique in that my grandfather was born in 1909, and he grew up in in an era that was storytelling. Um, it was passed down, generationally to him, and his heritage is very thick. It's very rich, and um, and that's what I love because of the storytelling that my grandfather did with my older sister and I. There's a one of the unique stories that my grandfather used to tell us as children to all of my first cousins. Um, he would sit us on his lap, and there was a plaque uh, that was made. I don't know who made it, but there was a plaque, and it hung on the wall of my grandparents' home, and it was a picture of my great grandfather, John Eli, standing beside a very large black and white hog. So the story is John Eli was a German. He was not an immigrant. He was, let's see here, he would have been the seventh generation coming to the United States from Germany. I have the exact place where the family came from. I know the history. There are things that I don't know, but that I'm currently researching, and we'll find out hopefully. So, anyways, back to the story about the hog, right? So this picture, and there was this picture that was on the top of the plaque, and a written story of what is known as the black and white speckled pig hog. And it was written with what I would say is a I guess you could say a transliterated form of how a German would talk. And I truly don't know or don't think that John Eli had a German accent because of just so many generations had passed down while being in America. But anyways, I'm sure that that he developed his own German accent, right? And so, anyways, the story my grandfather read in this German accent somehow, and it was so fascinating as a child because. And I'm hoping to bring that story to you and be able to share it with you. I doubt if I'm going to be able to do the German accent very well, but anyways, these are like the different things in my heritage. Um, as I think back on Thanksgivings. I think back on Christmases. Christmases, later on, first Christmases as a child is always a fun experience, or it should be a fun experience for children, and it definitely was in my family. My family, my grandparents, they had a large home in the city. They had my grandfather was a dryland wheat farmer in western Kansas, and they had a home out on the farm, and they had a home in town and in Garden City, Kansas, and they had built a new home. I think it was in the early to mid 1960s, and it was a very, very nice home. My grandfather was definitely a successful farmer, wheat farmer, and cattleman. He had money, and they built a very, very wonderful home that they lived in, and so in the family room of this house, there would be this huge Christmas tree, and there would be just the way that I remember it. I don't want to extrapolate, but I want to give a fair presentation of what it was like for a child. Like this is something that we did every year, and I remember this tree being there. There was this um, a wood beam roof, and so the roof was pitched, and it was an open roof to the ceiling, and so um, it would fit a very large Christmas tree in it, and they would always buy a live uh, a live Christmas tree and bring it home, and we would spend time decorating it as a child and do all these different things. My cousins were there, and it was just a blast, and the Christmas Eve party, it was always a party. The Christmas Eve party was such fun. All of the members of the family were there, and in addition to my grandmother's brother-in-law and his wife, and sometimes his children and their children, and so on and so forth. It was just we'd have a huge meal, and presents would be stacked up around the Christmas tree, and really stirs up emotion in me, and that's how important it was to me as a child. And unfortunately, some of that in our postmodern society has, I think that it's been lost, and I think that we need, as a society, as a culture, especially as a Christian culture, I think that we need to revisit that, and we need to do our best uh, as sons and parents and aunts and uncles to try to retrieve some of that heritage so that we can pass it down, to our children and our grandchildren, and they have that special, unique identification in their heritage. So those are just a few of the examples of what I mean by heritage. It's critically important to to focus on our heritage. Um, Sadly, some people don't have a rich heritage. They grew up, maybe in an environment that was, not becoming to family. Maybe they, just had, a strange heritage of, maybe being poorer and not being able to have, those different types of things. But that isn't really what is important. to passing down heritage. I think that what is important in passing down heritage is like who we are as people, not our ancestry, not the things that come with our family. And if it's a poor heritage, we can separate our ancestry and form heritage so that we can pass it down to those that come behind us, our descendants. And I think that's the core of what I'm trying to describe here. So I what I plan on doing is I plan on doing my best to try to upload a video every week. I would like to interview people. I may have said that before. I want to, possibly or perhaps I could do live videos as well. But for right now, I really want to concentrate on just recording, presenting the different things that are like necessary at the beginning, kind of get my feet wet, become comfortable, and move on from there. I hope that you enjoy this. If you would like to, if you would like to uh, email me with any information, if you're a family member, uh, you can email me at the name of the podcast, the Dordtrecht5 Podcast at gmail.com. Again, the Dordtrecht5 Podcast at gmail.com. Okay, everybody. Thank you. And I hope that you like the videos. I hope that you subscribe to my channel, and feel free to add any comments or suggestions or anything like that.